everybody! I'm here today to talk to you about 9 basic turning tips for driving. That's right, in this video, I'll be going over some basic turning tips. Now, these are basic turning tips, but they are so unbelievably important, critical, and crucial that you should listen to them whether you are a beginner driver or an experienced driver. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Basic turning tip number 1 is look in the direction of the turn. Now, it's very important to look up ahead when you're driving, but what you want to do is you want to really be sure that you're looking in the direction of the turn. So if I'm turning right, I'm going to look up ahead, but as I'm about to turn right, and I got to check my mirrors, my blind spot, and so forth, but as I'm about to turn, I'm looking towards the right at basically a 45-degree angle to my right, okay? So not front, not all the way to the right, but in between, okay? And that's because I'm looking ahead down the road on the right turn. And by looking at this angle right here, that allows me to see the right-hand turn road and also see the road ahead. It keeps my vision right in between both areas of where I need to see. And obviously the same thing or the opposite thing goes with the left. You got to look right to there. You want to look basically right where that pillar is, but not at the pillar. You want to look just out the front windshield where that pillar is, okay? And you want to look in the direction of the turn because it will guide your driving and your steering. And it's going to tell you what's happening on the road ahead of the one that, the one that you're turning onto. Basic turning tip number 2 is always use your turn signal. And this is so important, but so many drivers don't do this. I'm looking at you, the ones that don't use their signals. And I hope it's not you, but I know that it's you. I know there are at least a handful of you that watch these videos that don't signal, because I see on the road like at least 20-30% of people don't signal constantly, okay? And it's pathetic, to be honest with you. It's horrible because it takes like a second, boom, just like that. Just like that. Use your turn signal. Always use your turn signal. It will keep you safe, it will keep everyone else safe, and it'll hopefully prevent you from getting a ticket for not using your turn signal. Okay? Number 3, the third basic turning tip. Basic turning tip number 3 in this video is plan the turn before you actually do it. You don't ever want to take a turn last minute. I'll tell you why. As you're approaching the turn, you want to get into the appropriate lane for the turn, okay? And I'll move on to that in a minute. But you also want to do all of your safety checks and signal. And if you take a right turn at the last second, you're probably going to rush all of those things, and that can be very dangerous. So just know when you're going to turn well before you actually have to do it. And it'll allow you to not rush through the safety things. You should never rush with anything safety related. Like even something as simple as checking a blind spot, you should not be rushing it, okay? So plan the turn before you actually do it. That was number 3. Plan it before you actually take that right or left turn. Number 4, and I already briefly went over this, is move into the proper lane before turning. Here's the thing, like as a rule of thumb, general hard and fast rule of thumb, if you're going to be turning right, you should get into the rightmost lane before making that turn. If you're going to be turning left, you should get into the leftmost lane before making that turn. Now, that's not the rule every single time, but as a rule of thumb, know which lane to go into and get into that lane before you actually turn it. You don't want to take a right turn from the left turn lane, because that doesn't make any sense. You're going to be cutting across so much traffic. It's going to be dangerous. So just know which turning lane you need to be in, okay? Which lane you need to be in for the turn, and get into that lane. It's as simple as that, and that was number 4. Move into the proper lane before turning. Number 5 is check your mirrors and your blind spot. Now, depending on the type of turn that you are going to be doing, you got to check certain mirrors and you got to check your blind spot, or sometimes even potentially both blind spots, depending on what you're doing. But know what you have to check with regards to your potential mirrors and blind spots, and check them. Now, here's a hint. With any type of turn, you're going to have to check at least mirrors and at least a blind spot. I don't know off the top of my head of any turn where you only have to check your blind spot, your right blind spot, or you only got to check your rear view mirror. Like with every turn that I can think of, you have to at least check 2 mirrors and at least 1 blind spot. So make sure you check what you need to check so you can be safe and you can keep everyone else around you safe as well. It's as simple as that. Number 6 on this list, the 6 basic turning tip, is reduce your speed as you approach the turn. Now, the best thing about this is that this is important whether you have a stop sign or not. Because if you have a stop sign, you're going to have to reduce your speed to nothing to come to a complete stop. And if you don't have a stop sign, you're probably still going to have to reduce your speed. In my experience, the only time when I don't have to reduce my speed when I'm taking a turn is when I'm already driving a little too slow on that street. So if, let's say, I'm driving on a main road, and the speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour where I live, on the main roads that I know of, at least, the vast majority of main roads. So let's say the speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour, but there's traffic, so I'm only driving 20 kilometers an hour because that's the flow of traffic. When I turn, I'm not going to have to slow down probably because I'm already going fairly slow. However, if I was driving the right speed that, that we should be driving on a main road, if there wasn't any traffic, any excess amount of traffic, then I would have to reduce speed. So essentially, 99.9% of the time, you're going to have to reduce your speed as you approach the turn. That was number 6. Number 7 on this list is turn the wheel the right amount. Now, you can turn your wheel a little bit, you can turn your wheel a lot, okay? You can turn your wheel somewhere in between. You got to know how much to turn the wheel. And how do you know that? How do you learn that? Practice is the key here. You gotta practice. You gotta practice making your turns. Listen, if you're not good at making right or left turns, I'll tell you what you gotta do. You gotta get in your car. You gotta go when there's like no traffic. Drive at a time when there's no traffic. You're gonna go make 100 right turns and 100 left turns. I can guarantee by the time you're done making those 200 turns combined, okay, you're going to be better at turning than you were when you started. You might not be the best turner in the whole world. You might not be the best driver ever, but you're going to be much better. It's as simple as that. So know how much to turn the wheel and turn it that amount, okay? That was number 7, turn the wheel the right amount. Number 8, the 8th basic turning tip for this video goes along with number 7. Number 8 is let go of the wheel at the right time, okay? So here's the thing. When you turn, you're going to have to turn the wheel and you're going to have to hold it in place for the turn, and then you got to let go at some point. And when you let go, the specific fraction of a second, the specific millisecond when you let go will determine how well your turning radius is and how well the curvature of your turn and the smoothness of your turn are. So with that being said, once again, you don't know when to let go of the wheel if you catch yourself oversteering or understeering in a turn. Practice! 100 right turns, 100 left turns. 200 turns combined, you're going to be better. It's as simple as that. Last but not least for this video is the 9th basic turning tip for this video. Number 8 was let go at the right time. Just to recap, let go of the wheel at the right time. Number 9 is your hand placement is a key factor, okay? Your hand placement is a key. How you place your hands on the wheel, whether they're closer together, further apart, on an angle to the right, on an angle to the left, perfectly equidistant from the top center of the wheel, is a key factor. And I can go over, like, I think I've done actually a handful of videos about the topic of your hand placement when turning. But if you want me to do like a long, super detailed video about your hand placement when turning, drop a comment below. Let me know exactly that you want to see that. And if I see enough comments, if they sort of, because like I get a lot of comments on this channel, so it's really hard for me to like respond to them and definitely to read them. But if I see like a lot of the same comment as I'm just scrolling through, then it's like, if I see a lot of comments about like, hey, make a video on hand placement when turning, it's like, boom, I'm going to put it on my video list. I'm going to make it happen. But the hand placement is key. You got to know how to place your hands when turning. And like I said, practice makes perfect. 100 right turns, 100 left turns. You're going to learn from your mistakes with your hand placement. You're going to get better at placing your hands on the steering wheel throughout the turn. It's as simple as that. And that's it. Those are 9 basic turning tips for driving. If you use these tips effectively, you'll be a better overall driver, and you'll specifically be better at turning all sorts of types of turns. Right turns, left turns, sharp turns, wide turns, 3-point turns, U-turns, all turns. I can't think of anything else. These are off the top of my head, all turns. And that's it. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.